All right, so I do know that we have some attendees already. Just want to say hi and welcome everyone. I'll just do a brief announcement in Spanish and then I will go back to English. Buenos días, mi nombre es Eri Valero. Yo soy el supervisor para el Condado de Tulare. Represento el área norte del condado y yo represento 3 ciudades y 11 comunidades. Y estamos aquí para recibir más información sobre el dinero que estamos dando de parte del condado para apoyar a nuestros negocios durante estos tiempos. Hi, everyone. My name is Eddie Valero, and I am the Tulare County Supervisor representing District 4, which is Northern Tulare County. And first of all, I just want to say help is on the way. Yes, help is on the way. We are here today to share information on how you can apply for our Tulare County Small Business Grant Program. You don't have to hide, you don't have to struggle, and you don't have to carry the burden alone. That is why the County of Tulare has partnered with the Workforce Investment Board of Tulare County, an extension of the county, to lead these efforts for us. Today we have Nicola Weisler, as well as Blanca Bonilla, who will walk through the process and answer any questions that you may have. It is important to note that our deadline is August 16th, so it's a few days away. So it's very important that you get your application in before that time. And so I just wanted to do this brief introduction. And then we have our 2 amazing individuals that are participating here that will walk you through that process. And then after that, we will then conclude with the question and answer. Because I know that there are several businesses out there that may still have these lingering questions or may need help with one section of the application or another. And that is why we are here today, because help is on the way. So again, thank you, Blanca and Nicola, for being here this afternoon.
Okay. So should we start, Ryan?
Yes, if you're ready.
Okay, so I'm ready. So we will go ahead and get started today. So again, my name is Nicola Whistler. I'm with the Workforce Investment Board of Tulare County, and I'm part of the team that is working on bringing help to you guys, the business owners here in Tulare County. So today we're just going to quickly go through a funding summary and tell you where the money is coming from. We're going to tell you what you need to do to be eligible to get this funding. We're going to talk to you about the expenses that are allowed, so what you can spend the money on. We're going to tell you what documents are required, how to do the application, and then we've got some questions. We'll leave some time for questions at the end.
Okay, I'm going to do the Spanish one. Okay. Muy buenas tardes. De nuevo, soy Blanca Bonilla del Workforce Investment Board. Somos una agencia del Condado de Tulare que estamos colaborando con los supervisores, como está ahí con nosotros el señor Valero, para traerles esta ayuda de fondo por la epidemia que estamos viviendo del COVID-19 para negocios pequeños. Y les quiero comentar que esta sesión está siendo grabada, sus micrófonos están en silencio, no los podemos escuchar. Si tienen alguna pregunta, lo pueden escribir en el chat que está abajo de su pantalla. Pueden escribir su pregunta. Si no, después les voy a dar más información de cómo hacer más preguntas por la página de internet. Y estos son los temas que voy a cubrir, un resumen de lo que es el fondo, la elegibilidad, los documentos requeridos para aplicar para estos fondos, el sitio de web, la solicitud y preguntas si tienen algunas al final.
Wanted to make sure that there was funding available to small businesses specifically, and they want to make sure that this money is going to the businesses who didn't already get assistance. So businesses who were not able to get a PPP loan, or maybe businesses who were not able to get the SBA loans. This is the money that is for you from the county. So when you do decide that you're going to apply for this funding, just know that the funding is a $5,000 grant, which means that you do not have to repay it if you are chosen to receive the grant. You will get the $5,000, and we'll talk in just a minute about how that money can be spent.
Bueno, este es un resumen de lo que es este dinero. Este fondo es parte del financiamiento que recibió el Condado de Tulare el acto o la ley federal CARES Act. Y el Condado de Tulare va a otorgará 7.5 millones en subsidios para pequeñas empresas locales para mitigar los gastos relacionados con el COVID-19 en la operación de sus negocios. Estos subsidios son de $5,000 y no se tienen que pagar.
Okay, so for the businesses, if you are interested in applying, these are the criteria that you need to meet. So we can only have one application per business entity or individual. So if you own multiple businesses, you're really only able to apply once. Or if you have a business with multiple locations, your business can only have one application. You do have to be located in Tulare County. You have to have been negatively impacted due to COVID-19. So that could be a loss of revenue or an increase of expenses because of COVID-19. Your business has to have been established before March of 2020, and you cannot have delinquent property taxes. That is very important. Additionally, in order to qualify, you have to have 20 or fewer full-time equivalent employees, and you cannot have received the PPP loan or the economic injury disaster loan. However, if you did receive the economic injury disaster advance, which is the grant from the SBA, you are still eligible. It's just the loan itself makes you ineligible.
Bueno, vamos a comentar acerca de los requisitos para calificar para ese préstamo para los negocios. Se puede presentar una solicitud por persona y por entidad comercial. O sea que si tiene más de un negocio en el condado de Tulare, solo puede llenar una solicitud para un negocio. La empresa debe tener una dirección física ubicada dentro del condado de Tulare y debe de haber sido afectada negativamente por medio de la pandemia del COVID-19 en cuestión de pérdida de ingresos o tal vez sus gastos aumentaron por el COVID-19. También debe de haber sido establecida antes del marzo del 2020 y no pueden tener impuestos de propiedad atrasados, eso es algo muy importante. Y la empresa debe tener lo equivalente a 20 empleados o menos de tiempo completo, es como estamos definiendo lo que es un negocio pequeño. Y la empresa no debe haber recibido asistencia a través del programa de protección de cheques de pago o el préstamo por desastre. Si no está seguro si recibió estos ayudas o estos fondos, les invito a que vayan a nuestra página de internet, que se las voy a dar unos minutos para que hagan esa pregunta por medio de ahí.
Okay, and so if your business is eligible to apply, we encourage you to go ahead and go to the website, tularecounty.relief.com, and fill out the application. Now, if you are awarded the funds, there are 3 ways that you can spend the money, and it's very important that you understand how the money is allowed to be spent, because if you somehow decide to spend it on things that are not allowed, you will have to repay the county the funds. They will ask for that money back. So it's really important that you do spend the money on these allowable expenses. Now, these expenses can go all the way back to March 19th of 2020. So things like rent for your business, all the way from April to September. So if you've already paid your rent every month for the last 6 months, you can reimburse yourself for that rent. Same thing with your utilities, your business utilities. You can reimburse all the way from April 2020 to now, and you can also pay September through September 30th. The third option, besides rent and utilities, is expenses associated with operating your business in a way that protects your employees and customers from exposure and prevents the spread of COVID-19. So some of those examples include cleaning and disinfectant supplies, face masks, gloves. If you need to modify your service counters to be able to work with customers safely, you need to install plexiglass shields, you have social distancing signage that you're putting together, or if you're changing your system so that you can limit cash handling. Those are things that are allowable costs. And again, those are anything that you have purchased since March 19, 2020, all the way until September 30th, 2020. Those are things that you can reimburse for or go ahead and purchase.
Ahora les voy a comentar de los gastos que son permitidos por medio de este dinero. Si su negocio se le otorgan los $5,000, es muy importante que tome en cuenta las 3 áreas en lo que se es permitido usar este dinero. La primera, se le puede reembolsar por su alquiler de su negocio desde abril hasta septiembre, ya sea que deban este dinero o si ya lo pagaron, se les va a reembolsar. Y también se les va a reembolsar o para que utilicen el dinero para sus utilidades, sea de gas, de luz, etcétera, también de abril hasta el septiembre de este año. Y la tercera parte de los gastos que son permitidos es cualquier gasto asociado con la operación de su negocio para proteger sus empleados o los clientes que están usando su negocio. Esto sea, claro, para evitar la propagación del COVID-19, ya sea si compraron máscaras o desinfectantes o guantes o alguna modificación que tuvieron que hacer a su negocio para mantener a sus clientes y a sus empleados seguros. Y también se les puede reembolsar por este dinero si ya han hecho estos gastos. Y es muy, muy importante que guarden los recibos, facturas en lo que utilizaron este dinero. Se les puede hacer una auditoría y pedir que estas pruebas para saber que se usó este dinero para estos 3 gastos que están permitidos.
So once you decide that you're going to apply, there are really 2 different things that are really important for you to have. Now, we want to let you know the website that we've created, the application is very, very simple. And if you have your required documents with you, you can complete the entire application in less than 10 minutes. So it is very simple. It is very easy. And so this is really the piece that is holding people up. If there's any kind of trouble, this is kind of where it is. So it's very important. You are going to have to show that your business is a business. And so in order to prove that you have a business, you need to provide us with one of these documents, either a business license or your tax return that includes your Schedule C, or if you're a nonprofit, your IRS determination letter. Now you only need one of those, but you have to have at least one, and they need to be valid and current. So those are what we're going to use to show that your business is real and up and going. The other thing that you're going to need is your W-9. Now, many people have never filled out a W-9 form before. In the application itself, we have a link to a W-9. And all you need to do is download it, fill it out, and sign it. And then you're able to either scan it or take a picture of it. And that's the other piece is you can take pictures of these documents. If you don't have them with you, you can take a picture of them. And if you fill out the application on your phone, you can just upload the document straight from your phone to the application. Otherwise, you're going to upload it just like you do an email or anything else. You use a little paper clip and you upload it. So again, you need to make sure that you have the proof of business and the W-9. Now, the bottom of this slide talks about your income. That is no longer a required question in the application. So please ignore that tip. It was originally in, and we have removed it to make the application even easier. So you just need one proof of business document and your W-9 form.
Ahora les voy a comentar de los documentos requeridos para llenar su aplicación y para saber si usted va a calificar. Son 2 documentos básicamente que necesitamos y cuando ustedes entren en la página de internet van a ver que la solicitud es muy fácil de llenar, se van a tomar menos de 10 minutos en llenarla, lo pueden hacer por su teléfono celular o por medio de su computadora. El primer documento que van a necesitar es uno de estos 3, ya sea su licencia de negocios para verificar que es un negocio en el Condado de Tulare, su declaración de impuestos, la Schedule C, como se conoce, que es la declaración de pérdidas y ganancias de sus impuestos, y si son algunas organizaciones sin fines de lucro, su carta de determinación del IRS. El segundo documento es la W-9. Esta es muy importante que la llenen correctamente y la firmen y después la suban a la aplicación. Y por medio de nuestra página de internet pueden adquirir esta forma. Y como les comento, tienen que ser los 2 documentos, uno de lo que ya les comenté y la W-9, que es como el Condado de Tulare les va a otorgar su cheque ya cuando sean calificados.
Okay, so here is a quick snapshot of what the website looks like. Again, it's TulareCountyRelief.com, so it's very simple. You'll go to the website and we have a really great FAQ page. So if you have questions, you can click on that and all of the common questions that we get are listed there. We also have the How It Works page, and that just kind of tells you the timeline of what you can expect and the types of things that will be expected of you for the grant. You can also choose to see the entire application and website in English or Spanish, so you can choose your language. And basically, anywhere on this page, you will see the Apply Now button, and as soon as you click that, the application will show up and you can start filling it out. If at any time you do have any questions, there's a chat feature in the bottom right-hand corner. You can see the little bubble. If you click on that, we have a team of people on the back side who are there to answer your questions. So you can send any kind of question that you have through that chat, and it will be answered live anytime Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. We have people who are ready to help you figure out how to do the application and answer any of your questions.
Bueno, esta es la página de internet o el sitio web para llenar su solicitud. Es www.tularecountyrelief.com. Completamente en español. Tenemos preguntas que ya se nos han hecho desde que se abrió la solicitud el 3 de agosto, perdón. Y es muy fácil llenar la solicitud. Tenemos muchas preguntas en español. Y si ustedes ven el círculo que está como rosita en esta página, es donde pueden oprimir para hacer cualquier pregunta. Si no saben cómo contestar algo, tenemos personal de 9 de la mañana a 5 de la tarde que les van a contestar todas sus preguntas que tengan completamente en español. Es una página muy fácil de navegar y les invito a que lo usen antes del 16 de agosto, que es la fecha límite para llenar su solicitud.
Okay. So I think at this point, we've given a really quick update and kind of overview of the program, but we'd love to be able to take any questions that you guys might have about the application process or even the required documents or any other questions you might have about the Small Business Fund. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and include those things in the chat, and we'll be able to answer those for you.
Y esto es para recordarles que tenemos muy corto tiempo. Esto se cierra el 16 de agosto. Fechas muy importantes que tienen que hacer su solicitud en cuanto terminemos este seminario. Si ustedes son otorgados este dinero, se les va a enviar un correo electrónico del 9 al 25 de agosto con la notificación de que han sido aprobados y se les enviará un cheque las primeras semanas de septiembre. Y como les comenté hace unos minutos, de 9 a 5 de la tarde todos los días estamos dispuestos a contestar cualquier pregunta en español y en inglés que tengan en la solicitud.
So Supervisor Valero, Blanca, and also Nicola, I think it'd be okay if how you guys feel, if they want to unmute this. I can cut the video later on because I'm going to edit the video anyways because we had a lot of dead space. Would you guys be okay with that?
Yeah, if people would like to be unmuted and ask questions, then that is totally fine. There's
okay. And I see Sherry is already asking, so I'm going to allow her to talk first. So Sherry, you're unmuted.
Unmute. Thank you. I'm very sorry. I had technical difficulty. I couldn't log on, so I missed most of so I'm probably asking something already covered.
That's okay.
I was wondering, so I have a grandson who's starting a business and it kind of got stopped because of COVID. Do you have to be in business for a while, or is it just if you have a business license?
So the requirement is that you have to have been in business before March 19th, 2020. So if he was in business before March of 2020 and has been negatively financially impacted, then he should go ahead and go on and apply.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm also going to allow some others to talk, so the mutes will be coming in. If I hear some background noise, I might mute you again, but if you guys want to take a look, we have a question right here from the chat. Can these funds be used for equipment and supplies not related to COVID?
Okay, so the short answer is no. These funds really are meant to be an assistance for the impacts of COVID. That's why it's all about helping you with your rent and your utilities. Now, if you had to purchase equipment, like if you were a cash business or you took cash in your business and you needed to buy a new point of sales equipment so that you could go cashless, so that you could help protect your employees and your customers, that equipment would be considered COVID related and it would be okay. But if you just needed to buy new equipment because you do manufacturing or something, then that would not be an allowable cost.
Great, and we have another question from Fatine. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name right. Says, I have a question. So they're a nonprofit, and they wanted to know, they provide services to the community, but they don't make any income, which I know is not a concern. But what do you have for that, Nicola?
Okay, so there's no income. So I'm assuming that you do still have expenses that the nonprofit that you incur each month. So most likely, if you are a nonprofit, you may or may not have rent because depending, you might be out of somebody's home or something like that. But if you have utilities or rent as a nonprofit, you can use the money for that. If you are a nonprofit and you needed to purchase items like protective equipment, social distancing things, then you would be able to use the funding for that as well. It just kind of depends. And for those kinds of questions, I would actually encourage you to go onto the website, check out the FAQ, and then jump on the chat. Use the chat and talk to one of our team members because they can get into all the details with you. You can tell them exactly how you would plan to spend the money and where you might get hung up in the application. So I would suggest you go there and use the chat feature.
Now, I think we have a follow-up question with that. So go ahead and where is, I can't, oh, yeah, so Eddie, if you want to answer, if you want to follow up with a question, it looks like you had a question still. Sophia Harris.
Yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you were talking to me. Yeah, if I'm allowed to talk, we are not impacted by loss of income. This is Sophia Harris with the Sequoia Community Center. What we're impacted by is lack of ability to do any programs because of COVID. And one thing I'm thinking about is that we might be able to set up a new kind of a service to the community, which could be something I could work with the health department. And so that might require some equipment. And I think it could be a very good service to the community. It would have to do with, anyway, so that's possibility. Another question was, we don't have any employees, so I don't believe we would have a W-9 form. Isn't that what a W-9 form is?
No, so a W-9 form is actually, it has nothing to do with your employees, and it won't even be a part of your tax return typically. So a W-9 is a totally separate form, and it's actually a form that's required by the county so that they can put you into their accounting system so that they can pay you. So really, if you do get this grant, you have to have a W-9 in order for them to pay you the funds. So it wouldn't be part of your taxes.
Thank you.
Whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit, you'll just want to download it from the link in the application.
Okay, we have Sherry with her hand up.
Great.
Yeah,
Sherry,
I have a friend on the phone. He wants to ask a question about his business.
Sure.
His name is Mark, but he's on the phone. I'm going to see if you can hear him.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark.
My question is, we're a commercial design business. I've been in business since 1998. And that's when I started my own company. And we have seen nothing but jobs postponed in our industry and doing commercial design. We do more hospitality, hotels, restaurants, commercial buildings, and we do merchandising for tract home builders for homes and condominiums. But we only had 2 employees, 2 full-time employees for the last 2 years. And I had to let them both go this year.
So does he qualify? He only has 2 employees.
Yep.
He hasn't had any work since, I think, December. Is that right?
No, really, I would say May.
Okay, May. So
Yeah.
would he
It's the last
qualify?
completed job we had.
So right now it sounds like he would be eligible because this is for small businesses. Even if you're a sole proprietor or an independent contractor who has 0 employees, as long as you have fewer than 20 full-time employees, you should go ahead and check the rest of the eligibility to make sure you qualify. In terms of the negative impact, you've definitely been negatively impacted, and so you would also meet that eligibility requirement as well. So I would encourage you to go onto the website and do the application. And again, if you get to a question and you're not quite sure how to answer it, use our chat feature so that we can help walk you through it. But from the things that you mentioned, so far you do sound like you would be eligible. You'll just need to complete the application. And the nice thing about this application is it walks you through the eligibility. So it will say, are you located in Tulare County? Yes or no. Do you have less than 20 full-time employees? Yes or no. And so if there's something that you answer that makes you not eligible, it will pull you out of the application and it will tell you you are no longer eligible. But as long as you answer the questions, it will continue you through the application all the way to submission.
Great. Now it looks like we answered all those.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like we got everybody, but we did have one. I don't know if it was a comment or a question, and I believe it was from Mary Lou. So if you would like to elaborate on your question or even unmute yourself,
The next person's question is something.
you have the ability to talk if you would like to use your mic, or again, use the chat feature.
Okay, hi. I have a question. I'm trying to fill out the application. It says, do you own at least 20% of your business? Oh man, it just kicked me out again. We rent the building, but everything inside the building, including merchandise and all, belongs to the
Belongs
business.
to you. Okay, so, and that question is really about if you have a partnership or an LLC where there might be multiple partners. We just want to make sure that the person who is filling out the application is actually an owner, at least 20% owner of the business. It doesn't have to be the building, it's really the business in question. So as long as, you know, it's you and a partner and you're 50-50, then you have the authority to go ahead and fill out that application.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Steffi has another question. She's talking for, think of another business in Tulare County. There's a restaurant that's been impacted in Badger. If restaurants are closed because of COVID-19, can they still get help? And that's a pretty easy answer. Yes.
Yes. So if they are a restaurant with 20 or fewer full-time employees, they should go to the application and see if they meet the other eligibility criteria. The biggest one is that they have to be negatively impacted, which it sounds like they definitely have been. They need to have 20 or fewer employees, and then they need to make sure that they use the expenses in an allowable way. Most likely, if they're a restaurant, they're paying rent, even though they're not open, and they can use this funds to reimburse themselves for the rent that they've been paying for the last few months. Same thing with their utilities.
We have TKHCC asking a question. They had their hand up, but they also typed it. If you're a nonprofit organization, how do you answer that owner question?
Okay, so for nonprofits, normally the person who is doing it is not an owner because you are a nonprofit. And so you can answer yes. If you're like a board member or an executive director, then you would answer yes because you have the authority to make those types of decisions on behalf of the organization. The other thing for nonprofits is it is going to ask if the business is 51% of your income. The reason we ask this is we want to make sure that the business is somebody's primary income and not just something they're doing on the side to make some extra cash. And so for a nonprofit, often their board is not paid or their staff does it only part-time. So they are allowed to answer yes to the 51% question because we know it doesn't really apply to them. So we weren't able to totally gear this just for nonprofits. So some of the questions are more geared to for-profit businesses.
Okay, I don't see any hands up. I don't see any other questions coming in, but we can wait for a few seconds here.
And then I wanted to actually go back to Sofiati's question with regards to looking ahead and looking to the future because of impacts from the past. And so, again, just if you could answer that, is it allowable in terms of, like she had mentioned, equipment and looking for stuff that will support stuff for the future, even though it impacted their services from the past?
Yeah, so in terms of the allowable costs, obviously reimbursement is the easiest way to use those allowable costs, but we will be cutting checks. Our expected date is sometime the first week of September. You should, if you're chosen, you would get your check, we're hoping before September 13th. You would have until September 30th to spend the funds on an allowable cost. So if you were to start a new program and get something up and running and you had costs associated with that, like you were talking about for the nonprofit, and they said, we're going to start a program providing education on PPE, for example. So they need to purchase PPE and other things for that program. As long as they can do that before September 30th, then that would be an allowable cost. We do have another question about insurance being covered. Insurance, unfortunately, is not covered under the allowable costs. It's not your rent and it's not a utility. And so insurance would not be something that you could use this fund for. EIN numbers, these are good questions. So when you fill out your W-9 and when you answer the application, you're going to put in an EIN number. And this is just a tax ID number. If you are a sole proprietor or an independent contractor, then typically what you would do is you would use your social security number. They don't require an EIN number for sole proprietors and independent contractors. So when it asks you what type of business you are, if you put sole proprietor, it will allow you to put your social security number in the application, and on your W-9, you would mark sole proprietor as your business class and then include your social security number.
Right, and it can be one or the other, Nicole. It doesn't have to be both, so they don't have to be concerned about that.
It is just one or the other. If you have an EIN number, use your EIN number. If you do not have an EIN number, then your social security is the number you should be using.
Nicole, I'm going to ask this question live because I know that you're reading them too, but can you pay your rent for the remainder of the year in advance?
No, you may not. Rent is reimbursable from March and usable up until the end of September. So you could probably pay your September rent, September 1 to September 30th, but you cannot pay your rent beyond September. So it is meant to be a reimbursement of the cost that you have already incurred.
Great. We have Sherry, your hand's up. Sherry, do you have another question?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So if a person has their business in their home and, you know, legit office and they work out of their home, can they reimburse themselves on that?
Yes. So if you have a home-based business, you obviously are not paying rent for your business like you would if you had a storefront. But for your home-based business, the way that you can reimburse for your mortgage and your utilities is it needs to be proportional to what you claim on your income tax. So if you, on your income tax, you have a set square footage that is claimed for your business, then you would use that number to figure out how much reimbursement you could get using these funds.
Thank you.
Great question.
All right, I think we're caught up. Is anybody else? I don't see any other hands up or Q&As coming in.
Okay. So I do just want to remind people, again, go to TulareCountyRelief.com. There's a ton of information on there. It really is a simple application. It is not scary. It is not complicated. And our chat feature, like I said, we are there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We do have one individual who is answering questions in Spanish. So sometimes there's a little bit of lag when, you know, for him to be able to answer, but we do get back to you. You can leave your email, and that way when we chat back, it'll go straight to your email and you can get the answer very quickly. So we encourage you to use all of those resources as you're coming up with questions.
Okay.
Supervisor Valero, did you have anything you wanted to add or kind of close up with?
Yeah, so I'll just say first in Spanish, la ayuda está en camino, that help is on the way, as I reiterated in the beginning, and that we will continue to work on connecting our businesses to the resources and support that the county has to offer. So again, just want to thank Blanca and Nicola for your work and for your just passion and drive to make sure that people fill out the business relief program opportunity and that we get them connected. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Ryan, for your IT opportunities and services that you helped us with today as well. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you. And just so you know, Supervisor Valero, I'm going to go ahead and probably edit this video down, and I'll send it to you later on so you can utilize however you may. But again, thank you everybody for attending, and we can stick around for 10 seconds, but I'll probably be ending the meeting here shortly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate all of you, and Supervisor also, Eddie Valero, we thank you very much for all you do also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.